So, if we're trying to write the equation for this function, or write this function, what is one of the most important things that we should look at? Okay, yeah, we should ask ourselves, is it reflected? What else should we ask? Where the vertex is. Why is the vertex so important? Yes, it tells you your H and K values, right? Your vertical and horizontal translations. So, has this been translated? Yep. Yes, it has. So I start off f of x equals, and I know I'm going to have a set of parentheses squared, right, if I'm writing this in vertex form. This has moved which way? Where's it gone from the origin? It's, yes, moved to the right and down. How much did it move to the right? 2. And that's in the positive direction. But are we going to put plus 2? No. No. What are we going to put? Why are we putting minus 2? Because inside the parentheses is always what? Opposite. It's always backwards. I think she said that she called it tricky. Inside the parentheses is always tricky. It's backwards. So instead of it being x plus 2, it's what? Beautiful. Where else did it move? Down how much? And where should I put that? Am I going to also do the opposite sign here? No. What do I do? Keep it the same. We're moving down 9 in the negative direction 9. Now, what else do we need to check for to complete this? Stretch or compression. Who knows how I look for the stretch or compression? How do you look? What do you look for? So you look from the vertex, and what do you look at next? The next perfect point, which is how far away? Up 1 over 1. So do I have a stretch or compression? No, you do not. What if instead the next perfect point from the vertex was there? Is that a stretch or compression? Stretch by how much? 2. Because I rise 2 and I run 1. Who knows? So that's a stretch or compression, that new one I wrote. Compression by how much? 1/2. Now, I don't know if you realize this, and I don't know if she showed it to you. Counting on this graph, how can you figure out that 1/2? What did she tell you? She didn't? You just knew that that's not 1/2? Okay. So, slope is always what? Rise over run, right? Rise over run. Now, rise, if I'm rising, I'm changing my x or y value. Your y value, right? If I'm running, what am I changing? What is happening to x in a quadratic? It's always being squared. So here, my y value is normal, right? The y isn't ever squared, it's the x. So my rise is what here? 2. What is my run? 2. But remember, the x value is always what? So what is 2 squared? What is 2 over 4 simplified? Does that make sense? So that concept applies to every single function that we're going to be doing this year. Think about what's happening to x. Think about what's happening to x, and that will determine how you do your rise over run. Yes? Rise 1, run 2. Yes. Very good. You'll always square the x value. So here, my next perfect point was 1, right? My rise was 1. What do I always do to my run, my x value? Square it, but what is 1 squared? So it's just 1. Does that make sense? Beautiful. Okay. Number 2. Give the domain and range in set notation. What is set notation? Someone told me this morning, I never knew, I just always call them squiggly brackets. Those are called French brackets. I had no idea. I call them squigglies. So the way that I remember that it's always squiggly brackets is because another name for set notation is set builder notation. You're building this big long thing. So it's not the short and sweet little parentheses, right? It's the brackets that you're building. So my domain is my x or y values. Your x values. So how I like to figure out domain and range is I ask myself, what is my lowest x value? Negative infinity. What's my max x value? Positive infinity. So what is my domain? All real numbers. Now, how did she tell you to do this? X weird E. X is an element of all real numbers. So I didn't see it so much in this class, but I saw it in third period that a lot of people drew that epsilon as a capital E. That is not what she was trying to draw there. She was trying to draw, it looks like an E. It's like a C with a line. That's epsilon. It just means is an element of, is in. You can say X is in all real numbers. And then the range, what's my lowest Y value? -9. What's my max Y value? Infinity. So Y is always what? Greater than or equal to -9. Do not forget that equal to. It is actually having a value of -9, so it is equal to -9. So you write what here? Y is an element of all real numbers such that beautiful. Now, I wanted to go over this. This is the most formal way that you can write set notation. This is what they expect at college level. If you take any math courses or physics courses or engineering courses, this is what they're expecting. I have heard that, so this is what we expected last year. This year, I have heard that pre-cal has decided to also accept this. Assuming that you don't have to write as an element of all real numbers, okay? So this is like shorthand. This is like if you're passing a note to your friend, you can write it in shorthand. This is like if you're writing an essay formally. So I prefer this. Will I count off for this? No, because pre-cal said it's okay. This is the most formal. This is the best way to write it. Any questions here? Okay.